Colorado High School Activities Association Baseball is on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network this afternoon from Greg Brock Field in Loveland at Mountain View High School. It's the Fort Morgan Mustangs taking on the Mountain View Mountain Lions. I'm John Beltran, and what should be a big and close game, considering these teams are, well, Mountain View especially has really struggled this year, but they're 2-2 in league play, 2-6 overall, and that record is more indicative of the competition that they faced throughout the course of the regular season. The Mustangs just snapped a 3-game losing streak to move to 4-5 overall with an 8-4 victory over Frederick, but that was their first win in league play against 3 losses. The Mustangs starting lineup against the left-hander James Deal is brought to you by Equitable Savings and Loan. Borrow locally from people you know. Equitable has been providing personal bankers to help you through all the steps. Stop by one of 10 locations across the plains or visit equitable-savings.com. Lineup hasn't changed too much, especially coming off that very productive game on Tuesday against Frederick, at least in the 7th inning after it was deadlocked at 2. Batting first is the shortstop Charlie Langford. The DH hits second. That's Trey Romero. Batting third is the center fielder David Keller. Jason Diaz is the cleanup hitter at first base. Noah Aguirre, the left fielder, hits 5th. Chase Redding on the mound hits 6th. The catcher Tyler Baker will be batting 7th. The 8th hitter is the freshman Jaden Carrera at 3rd. And batting 9th, Joseph Layden, the second baseman. For Mountain View, Levi Gulbranson is at first. The second baseman is Jaden Good. Over at third is Blake Strom, and between him at short is Braden Steele. The left fielder is Caden Meyer, and center is Keenan Kaufman. TJ Horner, and right behind the plate is Jacob Mraz, and the left-hander James Deal, 2-1 record, delivers. Swung on and fouled to the backstop. To Charlie Langford. He's been the team's best hitter this season, undoubtedly. Hitting .500. No baseball movie quotes today. The pitch swung on and grounded weakly to short, and now that takes a wicked hop. It'll be a base hit for Langford as the shortstop Steele trapped it up against his chest. He really never got a grip of the balls. He can't score that in air. It'll be an infield hit for Langford. Yeah, that took a little bit of a tough hop. And here's Trey Romero batting from the left side. And on top of that, was not hit very hard, although the ball appears to be moving through pretty quickly along this infield. The pitch, swing and a miss through the fastball right by Romero, the DH. Batting .321 is a sophomore, Trey Romero. Two-step lead at first for Langford, and the offering. That's right down the middle for a strike. Belt high, it's 0-2. Let's get to the full numbers on James Deal. 1-2, actually, a 3.87 ERA. The pitch, swing and a miss on a pitch up and in, completely fooled on the off-speed pitch, and Romero strikes out on 3 pitches, 1 down. Yeah, that was a really rough at bat for Trey Romero. Here's David Keller, the center fielder, hitting .344, coming off a monster game against Frederick with 2 triples and 3 RBIs. The pitch, up and away. A ball and no strikes. Looks like Deal's got 2 to 3 pitches in his arsenal. That Romero strikeout might have been on a changeup. The left-hander. And now Langford takes off, steps off. The throw is high to the first baseman. Langford caught between first and second. They'll run him back to first. Steele's going to run it to the first baseman. And the tag was missed. And I think he got around the tag, and he did not run out of the baseline. Wow, that's a tremendous play by Charlie Langford. Kind of sidestepped the first baseman, Gulbertson, and avoided the tag somehow. Instead of ball and no strikes with still 1 out. against David Keller. It was one of those things Gulbertson just stuck out his glove, and you really have to lean that body into the base runner. You stick out the glove, it allows the base runner to do exactly what he did, kind of sidestep the tag. The offering, that's a little bit a strike. Boy, that's a delayed call if I've ever seen one. 1 ball and 1 strike, got him at the knees there with a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 on. Just underway from Mountain View High School at Greg Brock Field. He was a major leaguer. I think he played for the Dodgers and Brewers. The offering, swing and a miss, and a fastball above the letters, went chasing there. A ball and 2 strikes. I'm not sure how tall Deal is, but he's got to be a good 6'3". Tall left-hander. The pitch, swing and a miss, and a pitch away. Runner going to second, and again, Langford caught between first and second, and Steele's going to tag him out this time. Well, that'll be a strike him out, throw him out. 2-6 on the caught stealing, and just like that, the Mustangs are done in the top of the first inning. We head to the bottom of the first. Fort Morgan does not score, and Mountain View is coming to bat on B106. We're on the TuneIn app as well, and on the Eastern Plains Sports Network. John Beltran back with you. Let's get to the Mountain View starting lineup against right-hander Chase Redding, 2-2 with a 7.88 ERA. Batting first, the center fielder Keenan Kaufman. The second hitter is the left fielder Caden Meyer. Jacob Mraz. The catcher hits third. The cleanup hitter is the pitcher James Deal. Batting fifth, third baseman Blake Strom. The right fielder T.J. Horner hits sixth. Jaden Good, the second baseman, bats seventh. Braden Steele center, the shortstop, hits eighth. And Brock Robb, the DH, batting ninth. The Mustangs defensively, Jason Diaz at first. Joseph Layden is at second. The third baseman is Jaden Carrera. Shortstop is Charlie Langford from left to right. Noah Aguirre, David Keller, and Chase Romero. Tyler Baker is behind the plate. And here is Keenan Kaufman, right-handed hitter for Mountain View. And Chase Redding delivers. Fastball is off the glove of Baker to the backstop. Kaufman hitting 105. If Redding can keep the ball in the strike zone, that's been the challenge this year. Here's the 1 and the 1-0, and that one bounces in. And anytime you're on the visiting mound, it takes you an inning. So if you get out of the first inning fairly unscathed, then you settle in. 2-0. Swung on and tapped foul along the third base side towards the Mustang dugout. That's the other thing. The Mustangs were the visiting team occupying the first base dugout on Tuesday. Now in the third base dugout, still a visiting team on this Thursday. 2 balls and 1 strike. Redding delivers. And that is taken a little bit high with the off speed. Barely missed. I think Kaufman even thought it was strike 2. A Mountain View in their home whites all the way across. 3-1 pitch. Swung on and grounded foul along the third base side. Went with a fastball in the inner half. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Keenan Kaufman. The Mustangs did not score in the top of the first inning. The temp at first pitch with a slight breeze, 75 degrees. And the payoff. Swung on and grounded into left field for a base hit. Ball hung out over the middle of the plate. And Keenan Kaufman, again hitting 105 going into that sequence, is on for Caden Meyer. And this kid is killing it. 440. Leads a team with 8 RBIs. Has hit 1 of the 2 home runs for Mountain View. Mountain View is a team hitting 223 going in. Short lead at first. Open stands for the right-handed hitter Meyer. The pitch bounces into Baker. Is able to block it. 1 ball and no strikes. Again, you can't look at records in this league. There's only one team that is really dominant. That's Severance. And the Mustangs have them coming up next week after they get by Mountain View on Saturday. That bounces in as well, 2-0. Here to Caden Meyer. Jacob Mraz is on deck. They got a nice setup where he stands right behind home plate. About 10 to 12 rows deep. We're at the very top. 2-0. Not even close. Backhanded by Baker. And it's the one thing you see with Reading. The mechanics have got to be consistent. And he fell off the mound on that 2-0 pitch. And that lead for Kaufman is barely a step. 3-0, and that bounces in. A 4-pitch walk, and none of those pitches were even close. And here is Jacob Mraz hitting 200. And he's a left-handed hitter. Mustangs might have to watch out for the bunt. Carrera is playing even with a bag at third. When your number 3 hitter's only hitting 200 and he's got speed, you could anticipate a bunt. Reading looks back, and the pitch, and that one bounces in, blocked by Baker, but he picks it up, and there's no throw there because it took a little bit of a deflection right in front of him. Wild pitch sends the runners to second and third. And right now as a defense, you're defenseless. 5 consecutive balls thrown by Reading, and that one is upstairs. 2-0. Well, we're going to have a quick visit at some point, and I mean right after this batter. 2 balls and no strikes out of the stretch, and the offering. And again, it bounces into the catcher. 3-0. It looks like he's got a stride a little bit towards home plate. 3 balls, no strikes, no score, bottom 1. The offering, and that's down and in. It's the best pitch he threw there. And Baker will take a little jog towards the mound just to try to get Reading into a different rhythm. A single and 2 walks. And the walks came on 8 consecutive balls. James Deal is at the plate, 227 hitter. Deal's driven in 2. He's got a huge opportunity. Carrera playing on the edge of the grass at third. Everybody else is deep in the infield. 380 straight away, and that pitch is upstairs. That's 9 consecutive outside the zone. 12 balls and 3 strikes for Reading. 1 ball and no strikes. Getting the sign from Baker. The pitch, and that one bounces in. Man, they're going to have to get some activity up in the bullpen. 2-0. I know it's only the first inning, but this is 10 consecutive balls. 2-0 pitch. There's a strike on the outer half with a fastball at the knees. It's 2-1 to James Deal. Runners at every base. Kicking the pitch. And he waved at the breaking ball and missed it. Half-hearted swing, it's 2-2. Well, this might turn it around. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That was a wicked breaking ball thrown by Reading. We can do that again. He'll be able to get the first out. The pitch swung on and tapped foul along the third base side. Again, just get by that first inning. It's got a live arm, but it's got to be an accurate one. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded, nobody out, bottom 1. Ford Morgan had a leadoff single, and then Charlie Langford thrown out. The pitch, and the breaking ball is inside. Oh, man, it had a lot of break, but that did miss. 3-2 to James Deal. He's just got to let it fly. Don't be too careful. Let it fly. See what happens. Reading with a 3-2. Swung on and lifted toward center field. Coming in is David Keller, still coming, and it's going to drop for a base hit. A run will score, station to station on that Little Texas leaguer, and it's 1-0. I'm not sure if he got a good read on that ball, but it's a base hit for Deal. And the bases are reloaded for Blake Strom. Now, he's playing fairly deep, but again, I didn't see his jump off the bat. Another righty-righty matchup. The pitch. Fastball is upstairs. Strom is hitting .294. He's got the other homer this year for Mountain View. And that pitch is a strike with a fastball on the outside corner. Thigh high, it's 1-1. Runners again take their leads. And the offering. And that bounces in, bounces away towards the backstop. A run will score. The other runners advance. 2-0 as Meyer crosses home plate. Yeah, enough pitches in the dirt. You can't solely rely on your catcher. Gets really tough back there. 2-1. To Blake Strom, 2-0 Mountain View. Mustangs are still looking to record their first out of the inning. And the pitch swung on and fouled off to the right. 2-2. At some point when Redding gets out of this, he's going to be close to 40 pitches. He's at 25 now. And the pitch down and away with a bender. 3-2. Another full count. Third consecutive, or not third straight, second straight, but third overall in the game. 3-2 pitch. Swung on and popped up. Should be playable along the right field line. That Diaz now giving way to the second baseman, Layden, in foul territory, makes the catch, 1 out. That was a good call off by Layden. He had a little bit of a better angle playing deeper at second as opposed to Diaz at first. So 1 down, and the hitter's now TJ Horner. Horner from the right side, batting .133. The infield is staying back, by the way. They'll concede the run for an out. They don't mind 3-0. They just don't want a 5-6-0 game. The pitch, fastball is high. 1 ball and no strikes to TJ Horner. A single, a walk, a single, a wild pitch. That's how the 2 runs were scored. The pitch, fastball is at the knees for a strike. And I really have to wait for this umpire. Oh, man. As slow as it gets. Riding out of the windup, second and third, 1 down. And the offering. And that one is blocked by Baker. Gets away, runner to the plate to throw the slide, and the ball gets loose in the infield. It's going to be backed up by Langford. It's a wild pitch scoring the run. It only got away maybe a few feet behind Baker, but a great jump from third base by Jacob Mraz. He scores. It's 3-0. And I don't think Baker even anticipated the runner would take off, but he did. He got to that baseball, but even a perfect exchange from Baker to Redding, I think he still would have been safe to pitch. Up and in with a fastball. 3 balls and 1 strike on pitch number 31 of the first inning, and only 11 strikes. With Deal at third. Chase Redding to the plate. That is a strike at the knees with a fastball in the outer half. It's 3-2. To the number 6 hitter in this Mountain View lineup. 3 balls, 2 strikes, another 3-2 count. 4th in the inning. The pitch swung on and lined on 2 hops to Layden at second. Sidearms to first. Deal will score. The RBI goes to TJ Horner. 4-0. Mountain View. That'll send up Jaden Good. Good hitting .200. Redding gets a sign from Baker, and the pitch, swing and foul tipped into the glove on a fastball up in the zone. It's 0-1. That's what Chase wants to do, go after these guys. Short arm so many of these pitches earlier in the frame. The offering. And a check swing with a breaking ball. He went it 0-2. I mean, this is, besides a mechanical thing, a confidence thing. Got to have that confidence when you take the hill. You're down 4-0. And the pitch. And the fastball is up and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jaden Good. Mountain View has just 2 hits. The pitch. Swing and a miss and a breaking ball in the dirt. Baker will tag the hitter. And the inning is over. But the damage is done in the first inning. 4 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and the bases were left empty. To the second we go. Mountain View 4. Fort Morgan nothing on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. James Deal has a 4-0 cushion for Mountain View as the left-hander will face the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Mustangs. Jason Diaz, Noah Aguirre, and Chase Redding. And let's hope that was the worst of it. And the Mustangs can climb back into the game. After all, they just picked up a huge road victory on Tuesday. 1 win is great, but to build on that momentum even better. And the Mustangs do have activity. David Keller is warming up in the left field bullpen. So they're not going to take any chances if Redding struggles in a second. The offering. Swing and a miss and a fastball down in the zone. From James Deal, no balls and 1 strike. Here to Jason Diaz. Out of the stretch with the bases empty, the offering. Swung on and grounded fair, yeah, just inside the third baseline, and then misplayed over at third. Well, that was a half-hearted attempt at third base by Strom. It'll be scored an error. It was just inside the line. The ball was not hit hard. And it deflected off his glove. And here's Noah Aguirre. Aguirre batting 154. Very short lead against the left-hander. The pitch squaring to bunt. And that one skips off the glove towards the backstop. And Mraz didn't even see it into his glove. And that's a pass ball. Into second is Jason Diaz. Yeah, he thought he had it in the glove. And indeed it went and it skipped to the backstop. 1 ball and no strikes. To Noah Aguirre, followed by Chase Redding and then Tyler Baker. Keep in mind, the last time the Mustangs were at the plate, it was a 6-run 7th inning against Frederick. The pitch, fastball is a little bit low. Well, actually, this is the 2nd inning, so let me not exaggerate, but they're 2 innings removed from that effort 2 days ago. 2 balls and no strikes to Aguirre. Mraz lays down the sign. Deal at the belt. Deal to the plate. Swung on and fouled on a fastball tailing away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Stubbs Gas and Oil. Well, they got everything over there. Food, gas, all your travel accessories off I-76 and exit 66A in Wigan. Stubbs Gas and Oil as Deal steps off. 2 balls and 1 strike. 4-0 Mountain View. Nobody out and a man at second base there for Fort Morgan in the second. And the pitch. And that bounces in and bounces away, but not far enough to advance the runner. 3 balls and 1 strike. Once again, Deal going into the game with a 3.87 ERA, by far the best pitcher for Mountain View. Their team ERA is at 9.43. The pitch swung on and grounded to short. It's going to be backhanded by Steele. Sets long throw to first, and it's going to be offline. That'll be offline. We'll call it an infield hit because that was a long, long throw. Again, I'm not the official scorer. That would have been a bang-bang play. Diaz had to hold up at second, which is smart base running. There's no way. Had he taken off for third, they would have thrown him out. So an error and a base hit to begin the top of the second inning for Chase Redding. Attempting to help his own cause, hitting .222. Squaring to bunt, and he pops it foul. Well over the backstop, it's 0-1. No balls and 1 strike to Redding. Pretty cloudy in Loveland. There's not a sign of the sun whatsoever. Diaz at second, Aguirre at first. Nobody out, top 2, 4-0 Mountain View. The left-hander looks back. The offering squaring to bunt again, and he takes it for a strike right down the middle. Yeah, I don't know why Redding pulled the bat back. He had it out, and then it was a perfect pitch, unless he thought it was going to be a breaking ball. Now he's got to swing away at 0-2. Yeah, Baker's got the shin guards on. I'm not sure why, because there's nobody out in the inning. The pitch, and a called strike 3 on a fastball down and in. That's a questionable call. Boy, that looked like ball 1. Yeah, and even Josh Langford is not sure how was that called a strike. That pitch was down and in, and Redding was rung up. Yeah, that's not a good call there. I have no idea how that was called a strike, but it was. And Redding is the first out of the inning. Yeah, it was a little bit off the plate on the inside corner, and it was low. Here's Tyler Baker. And that's why you can never get yourself to 2 strikes, especially when you have the bunt sign, because the umpire can then play a role, even if it was a bad call. Baker hitting .182, but started a critical rally with a base hit on Tuesday in a 6-run 7th in an 8-4 victory at Frederick. The stretch and the offering, and that is blocked by Mraz. A lot of pitches in the dirt in this game, and we're not even through an inning and a half. 1 ball and no strikes. Jason Diaz at second, Noah Aguirre at first. Mraz lays down the sign. Deal. Delivers. That is over for a strike at the knees with a fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Got a light crowd, and it feels that way. It feels very light. You might have about 40 people here at this game, not counting players and coaches. And the offering, and that one bounces in. And these catchers are busy today. 2 balls and 1 strike. I mean, it's the same mound, it's the same distance. You'd think they're throwing from about 2 or 3 feet further. The runners take their leads. Pitch to Baker. Swung on and grounded to short. Could be 2. Steele. Underhands for 1. Throw back to first is late. Runners at the corners. Whoa, what happened with Aguirre? Well, he stayed on the bag for some reason, but he was clearly out. So 2 down. Yeah, that wasn't the cleanest exchange there between Steele and Good. And here is the freshman Jaden Carrera hitting .125. Mustangs really need a run, especially with first and second and nobody out. And now first and third and 2 down. The offering. Fastball is inside. A ball and no strikes to Carrera. Yeah, of all people to get rung up, you ring up the opposing pitcher. That means he better be calling the same pitch for a strike when Redding's on the mound. 1-0. Up and away, 2 balls and no strikes. with Joseph Layden waited to hit next. Not a clean game so far, to say the least. Both teams with 2 hits. But Mountain View's got 4 runs. Swing and a miss on a pitch above the letters. That probably was going to be a ball for a 3-0 count. Now it's 2-1. Baker against the lefty, a short lead at first. Diaz, 2-step lead at third. The offering, and blocked, and Baker's going to take second. No advance by Diaz because the ball got away up the third base side by just about a foot away, and that's all Baker needed. Now the count is at 3-1. Need some life in this game. Just moving along rather methodically. We played half an hour. The offering. Swung on line. Base hit into center field. That's going to score Diaz. Baker's around third. He's going to score easily. The throw is going to be cut off. It's a 2-run, 2-out single by Jaden Carrera. And the Mustangs have cut the lead in half. It's 4-2 Mountain View. And here is Joseph Layden. Well, that's the life the Mustangs needed, especially a 2-out hit. And that wild pitch hurts Mountain View. Layden had a big junior year, struggling now as a senior at 0.95, but he's got pop in the bat. He had a good game last year here in a victory by the Mustangs, and that one is in the dirt, blocked by Mraz. Boy, I wish I didn't have to say that another 10 times, but it's going to happen. 1 ball and no strikes. So the Mustangs have out at Mountain View, but they trail 4-2. But they do have those 2 runs. Carrera, about a 2-step lead at first. James Deal to the plate. Swang and a miss. Layden pulled his entire body. 1 ball and 1 strike. That was a pitch to go the other way, but when you pull like that, you're going to miss the ball more often than not. 1-1 pitch. Foul right behind the plate. That pitch was on the inner half. It's 1-2. To the 9th place hitter, Joseph Layden. That base hit by Carrera was the first ball hit out of the infield by Fort Morgan. The other 2 base hits were in the infield. And the pitch. Swing and a miss on the off-speed pitch. And Joseph Layden strikes out. However, the Mustangs pick up 2 runs. They do it on 2 hits. There was an error and a man left. An inning and a half in the books. Mountain View 4, Fort Morgan 2 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. John Beltran back with you from Greg Brock Field in Loveland at Mountain View High School. It's Mountain View 4, Fort Morgan 2. And Chase Redding needs a quick inning as he unleashed 37 pitches in the opening frame. He'll face the 8-9-1 hitters Braden Steele, center, Brock Robb, and Keenan Kaufman. Right-handed hitter steps in for Mountain View. Redding delivers. Fastball is a strike. Belt high on the outer half. It's 0-1. Steele center hitting 154. Now, I could make these calls quicker than the home plate umpire. The offering fouled to him, a breaking ball. No balls and 2 strikes. Redding did strike out the final hitter of the first inning. 0-2 to the Mountain View shortstop. Gets a sign from Baker. The pitch. Fastball is upstairs. Tried to climb the ladder. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. To Braden Steele center. Redding ready. And he kicks and fires. And the breaking ball, well, I think it was a breaking ball that didn't break. It went behind him 2-2. Start your associate degree, continue your education, or get a specialized certificate. Visit morgancc.edu. The 2-2. Down and in off the glove of Baker. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Oddly enough, that pitch, had it been caught, would have been in the same spot where Redding was rung up. But if you drop it, it's pretty much an automatic ball. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Winding the pitch, and that is outside. Down and away. It's a walk to the number 8 hitter. And that's the 3rd walk issued by Redding. Here's Brock Robb, the DH. Another right-handed hitter batting. Well, he's only got 1 plate appearance. 0 for 1. I wouldn't even worry about the runner at this point. You got to get outs at the plate. Stretch by Redding. He throws over to first, and back in diving is Steele Santer. Yeah, I mean, you don't ignore the runner, but the hitter's got to be the focus. A stretch in the offering, squaring to bunt. It's up and in. Well, he's giving you an out there. 1 ball and no strikes. And David Keller did warm up in the top of the 2nd inning, so he's ready to go if they have to go to the bullpen this early. 1 ball, no strikes, and the offering squaring to bunt, and that's taken for a ball, I guess. Wow. Redding's wondering, so am I. It's 2-0. Yeah, that looked like a strike from here. Fastball down the middle, but called a ball. 2-0. The pitch, squaring to bunt, that's got to be a strike, and it is, with a fastball at the knees. I mean, this is almost turning into guesswork on certain pitches. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nobody out, bottom 2. Mountain View leads Fort Morgan 4-2. Redding at the belt. Redding to the plate, squaring to bunt, pops it foul, and wow, that one nearly nailed me. Oh, I had to play. That's an error, so that's yeah, right there. But I mean, right back towards me. You could probably hear it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. That is a called strike 3 with a fastball at the knees down the middle. And there's 1 down. Yeah, that baseball's sitting pretty close to me. Probably about 3-4 rows down. That'll send up Keenan Kaufman. He singled and scored. Throw back to first, back in diving is Steele Santer. Well, let's see if that gets Redding's confidence going. He's 2 pitches shy of 50. The stretch. Long pause, and the pitch swung on and fouled back. No balls and 1 strike. Well, that ball-to-strike ratio is getting better. 27 balls, 22 strikes. It was really one-sided earlier. Double play would help, but the Mustangs, I don't believe, have turned one this year, at least conventionally. Looking back, coming home, swing and a miss, runner goes to second. The throw's up the shortstop side. It's a steal for Steele Santer. And no balls and 2 strikes on Kaufman. So he's in scoring position with Mountain View leading 4-2. Redding looks in for the sign. He's ahead in the count at 0-2. Kaufman awaits. Redding to the plate. Swing and a miss. Boy, got him up and in with some heat. 2 down. Well, that's the Chase Redding we were waiting for in the first inning. Now that he's adjusted. Here's Caden Meyer. He walked and scored Mountain View's 2nd run in the 4-run first. Well, Redding has not had to rely on his defense whatsoever in this frame with the 2 strikeouts. He's got 3 in the game. The last 3 outs have been recorded via the strikeout. Swing and a miss. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing if you watch Redding. He's got a live arm. But it's a matter of, are the strikes going to be consistent? No balls and one strike. The pitch, and that one bounces in, blocked by Baker as it rolls up the first base side. No advance by the base runner. Steele center. It's 1-1. I'm telling you, these games are taking longer now per inning, easily. Whether it's Brush or Fort Morgan, than Major League games, without a doubt. The stretch and the offering, over but low. Ball 2, strike 1. To Caden Meyer. Yeah, it'll take it an hour to play 3 innings. Easily. Looking back is Redding. The pitch. Fastball is inside. Oh, he called a strike. Wow. All right, well, how about make the call before it gets to the next pitch? Man, this is the most deliberate umpire I've ever seen. 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, a man at second. A 2-run lead for Mountain View in the bottom of the second. The pitch. Breaking ball called strike 3 on the inside corner. And Chase Redding strikes out the side. Talk about coming back and neutralizing that part of the lineup for the second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left. Let's head to the third in Loveland. Mountain View 4, Fort Morgan 2 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Charlie Langford will lead off the third for the Mustangs, trailing Mountain View in Loveland 4-2. Against left-hander James Deal, an infield hit his first time up in the pitch. Fastball is a little bit, it's a strike, all right. Oh my gosh. Langford had stepped out of the box completely and the call had still not been made. And it looked down and away, but it's 0-1. Deal to the plate, fouled on a fastball that was up in the zone. No balls and 2 strikes. To Charlie Langford. Langford, Romero, and Keller in the third. And the offering swung on and lifted down the right field line. Could be trouble, but now ranging to his left and making the catch. Along the line for Mountain View for the first out is T.J. Horner. Excellent all-speed pitch. Here's Trey Romero, struck out on 3 pitches in the opening frame. The lone left-handed hitter in the Fort Morgan lineup. The pitch. Over but low. Yeah, I have to start pausing because if not, I'm going to anticipate things that are not happening. 1 ball and no strikes. Deal ready and the pitch. And that one bounces in. That's definitely a ball. 2-0. This has a living room feel with nobody else in it. 2 balls, no strikes. 1 out, bases empty in the top of the third. 4-2 Mountain View, the pitch. Swing and a miss. Oh, man, Romero opened up badly. And he mistimed that one. It's 2-1. Trey does not look comfortable against this left-hander. The pitch. That is low, 3-1. That's probably the best thing that can happen. He just draws a walk. He's an excellent hitter, though, but lefty against lefty, don't see that too much. 3-1, and that looks like it's up and away, but it's called a strike. 3-2. Got the top of the zone and the edge of the corner. Payoff pitch in the dirt. Romero walks. And for some reason, he left the bat right at the plate like there's a bad boy. Keller's going to have to pick it up and toss it about 50 feet. And here is Keller. Somebody going to get that bat. Jason Diaz is the on-deck hitter. I mean, there's a huge amount of territory between the dugouts and home plate. The pitch, low. Keller struck out his first time up. However, against Frederick, he also struck out his first time up, then tripled twice. So maybe he can duplicate that and draw the Mustangs even closer. Down by 2 in the third inning. Short lead at first by Romero. The pitch swung on and fouled to the backstop. On a fastball down the middle, it's 1-1. Mustangs in their gray FMHS uniforms. Mountain View, all white. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 on, 1 out. The pitch. Swing and a tapper right out in front of the plate. Barehanded by the catcher. Throw to first in time as Mraz throws out Keller. To second is Romero, 2 down. Yeah, it looked like he got fooled on that pitch and just got a bat on it. But did advance the runner. Here's Diaz. Hit that grounder to third that was misplayed by Strom. Mustangs have hit 1 ball in the outfield. That was the base hit by Carrera, driving in the 2 runs. Huge hole on the right side for Diaz. The offering. Fastball is a strike on the outside corner. No, it's a ball. Okay, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here. Feels like my first game. The strike zone is all over the place. And the 1-0 swung on, hit off the end of the bat up the first base side, and it's going to be picked up by Deal. And he dropped the ball as he tried to tag the runner. He dropped the ball, it dislodged from the glove as he tagged Diaz. That'll be an error on the pitcher. Again, that's why you have to throw your body into it a little bit. You just don't stick out the glove. And Diaz is a big guy. E1 on a play that, quite frankly, that's an easy play. Got a little bit lazy with the tag, and here's Aguirre who singled. James Deal throwing a lot of strikes in this game. The offering swung on and fouled off the end of the bat. The Mustangs are out in front on that changeup. Deal's got some good, solid off-speed stuff that he's throwing at this Fort Morgan team. That's why they have not hit the ball hard. No balls and 1 strike. At third is Romero. Diaz at first, 2 down in the third. The pitch bounces over the catcher. Took a huge hop on about a 55-footer. Romero scores. Diaz to second in the wild pitch. Mountain View 4, Fort Morgan 3. There was nothing. No catcher in the world would have been able to stop that. It took a humongous bounce. And now the tying run is at second base. 1 ball and 1 strike to Aguirre. Laying down the sign is Mraz. And the pitch. That is a little bit high with a changeup. 2 balls and 1 strike. And again, the right side is so open. If Aguirre can go that way, stepping off his Deal. I can't imagine if high school baseball went beyond 7 innings. Could be a 3-hour game the way we're going. And the pitch. Swung on and chopped over the mound. The shortstop Steele charges, gloves, throws to first high, late. It'll be a base hit. Aguirre got down that line. We'll score that a base hit. I mean, a perfect throw would have been tough. And first and third. Yeah, Steele did everything but make an accurate throw, but that was going to be a bang-bang play. Here is Chase Redding. Redding was rung up on an 0-2 pitch that looked like it was easily ball one. As the wind starts to kick up a little bit. Off of third is Diaz. At first is Aguirre. And the offering. Swung on and grounded foul along the third base side. No balls and one strike. Deal has thrown 51 pitches. Redding has got more than that, and he's only thrown 2 innings. So already over 100 some odd pitches in this game, and still in the top of the third. That tells you about the pace of this game. And the offering, and that bounces in. It's blocked. Now the runner goes to second. Aguirre breaking for the plate is Diaz. He's going to score. And let's see if they tag out Aguirre as they run him towards second. The tag, and he is going to be out. But Jason Diaz does score. And is he down at the plate? Oh, man. Looks like he's hurt on his knees as Diaz scored. He's getting up limping. Nonetheless, Aguirre was caught between first and second, and I'm not sure what happened at the plate because Diaz has gotten up limping, and Coach Langford is out speaking to the field umpire, and it looks like that might be Coach Norris with a home plate umpire. Oh, boy, they might be ejecting. Are they ejecting one or both coaches? Well, somebody's been ejected. It might be both coaches. It might be Langford and Norris that have been ejected. Wow. Nonetheless, the Mustangs pick up 2 runs in a very sloppy inning for Mountain View defensively. Yeah, that was odd because when Aguirre was caught between first and second, Diaz was on his knees beyond home plate as if something had happened. Let's take a 30-second break. It's tied at 4 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. All right, Coach Langford is still out there along the third baseline. But I think Coach Langford and Coach Norris have been ejected. We're going to find out when the Mustangs get up to bat in the 4th inning, tied at 4. And the wind, as you can tell, at least it's going right through our microphone. That was 2 runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and nobody left on base. But I saw the home plate umpire signal for 2 ejections. And again, I have no idea what happened at home plate. I saw Diaz scored, and then he was a few feet beyond the plate. And then he went to his knees. And I don't know if that was caused at all by Mountain View. But Aguirre caught between first and second. I did not see anything unusual unless there was somebody blocking his path going to second. But again, I didn't spot that whatsoever. But the Fort Morgan coaches did see something. So we're deadlocked at 4. That's the good news. The Mustangs have rallied down 4. We're only in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Straight up at 5 o'clock. This is Morgan County's B106 KPRB Brush Fort Morgan. But this is not good baseball to watch. It's gotten very sloppy. A lot of pitches in the dirt. Had errors. No flow to this game whatsoever, but maybe it will improve. Stepping in will be Jacob Mraz, James Deal, and Blake Strom, 3, 4, and 5. Mraz walked and scored in the 1st inning. Left-handed hitter. 56 pitches deep is Chase Redding. Wine and offering. Fastball is upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. Redding struck out the side in the 2nd, swung on and grounded a second late and is right there. He'll toss it to first for the out. Chase Redding has recorded 4 strikeouts. And that's the first out that Mountain View has gotten via a hit ball since the 1st inning. Here's James Deal, who had that pop fly single in front of Keller to drive in a run in the 1st inning. 4 runs on 4 hits for the Mustangs. 4 runs on 2 hits for Mountain View. Mountain View with a couple of errors and a breaking ball swung on and missed. Yeah, this is a different pitcher now. A much different pitcher. Let's see if Reading can keep it going. And the offering. That's a breaking ball for a strike. Whew. That's like a big-time slurve. It's 0-2. On the outer half at the knees. Reading with a pitch. Outside with a fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. On deck is Blake Strom. The pitch. Bender away. 2-2. You get out of this inning, and it's a 4-inning baseball game. Deadlocked at 4. 2-2 pitch, and it hit him. Oh, gosh. On the left shoulder. Well, runner at first with 1 out for Blake Strom. He popped to the second baseman Layden in foul territory. Trying to shake it off. That got him good. Yeah, it's the old adage that sometimes you just don't know where the ball is going. And I don't think Reading really does at times. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a hit batter. That pretty much is indicative of that opinion. Deal with a 1-step lead at first. Now stretching it out the pitch. Fastball is upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. Righty against righty. Reading at the belt. The pitch. Swung on and popped up into right field. A routine play to his left for Chase Romero. Makes the 2-handed grab. Back to first is Deal. 2 down. It's as simple as that, but it's not that simple. T.J. Horner grounded to Layden his first time up. I mean, and Reading has proven that if you throw strikes, they're not hitting the ball that well. Had that 1 base hit by Kaufman to begin the game. The pitch, and the breaking ball is a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes. Fort Morgan 4, Mountain View 4. Bottom of the 3rd inning. To the plate. Swung on and fouled off to the right. They're getting late swings on Reading's fastball. Count levels at 1-1, covering all electric work from residential to commercial to agricultural. Better electric, better does matter. 970-521-1030 the pitch. Swung on, grounded left side. Third baseman Carrera sets, throws low, dug out by Romero. And the inning is over. No runs for Mountain View, no hits, no errors, and a man left. We head to the 4th inning in Loveland. It's Fort Morgan 4, Mountain View 4 on B106. We're on the TuneIn app as well, and on the Eastern Plains Sports Network. John Beltran back with you. Let's head to the 4th inning in Loveland. So you're down to 1 active coach. That's Coach Norris. It was Ty Davies, because both Coach Norris and Davies are pretty big guys, so I wasn't sure which of the other coaches was ejected. Coach Langford was ejected from the game, and Coach Ty Davies. So it's Jake Norris coaching third. Jesus Franco, wearing a helmet, is the first base coach. And that's what you do at the younger levels. You don't have enough coaches, you get a player out there. And here is Chase Reading. The pitch bounces to the backstop. He was the batter when Aguirre was caught between first and second, and Diaz scored. That precipitated the discussion/argument between the 2 Fort Morgan coaches and the 2 umpires, which led to the ejections. Reading is 0 for 1. The pitch, fastball is up and away from the left-hander James Deal. 2 balls and no strikes. Mountain View led 4-0. Then the Mustangs have tacked on 4 unanswered. 2 balls and no strikes. And the pitch nearly hit him, 3-0. Tyler Baker waits to hit next. Well, we'll see if the ball's hitting the air, whether this wind is going to play a factor. 3-0 to Reading. He'll be taking here, and the offering. That's upstairs. It's a walk. Let's check out James Deal's line. He's struck out 4. Now he's walked 2. And we'll have a visit to the mound. I don't know if Mountain View has any activity in the bullpen. This could just be a visit to slow him down. Although Deal works slow enough. Baker hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice in his first plate appearance. Mustangs back in action coming up on Saturday morning, 11 o'clock from Fort Morgan against Mountain View. Brian Nick will have the call of that game. I'll be with you twice next week for those games against Severance in Fort Morgan on Tuesday. And then at Severance a week from today. So here we go with Baker. Baker's a pretty good bunter. Wouldn't surprise me if he lays one down, especially with Carrera on deck, who had a 2-run single. A very short lead for Reading. Oh, that's actually a courtesy runner. The pitch squaring to bunt, and he takes it for a ball. No, or is that Reading? Let's see. No, I think that's still is Reading. 1 ball, no strikes. A lot of times the pitcher doesn't run at all. Got to be careful on the bases. Baker awaits. The offering squares to bunt, lays it down foul up the third base side. Man, that was a perfect pitch to bunt, and he got underneath it. And he fouled it up by quite a bit towards the Mustang dugout on the third base side. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fort Morgan and Mountain View are tied at 4 in the 4th. Raz puts down the sign. Baker awaits, and the pitch squaring to bunt in the dirt, but what a block. 2-1. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 innings. I think we've had one of those. That was it. Not a full inning either. That was more like half an inning. Right now we're on pace for a 2.5-hour game in 7 innings. 2 balls and 1 strike. The pitch squaring to bunt. It's upstairs. Nice job of Baker pulling the bat back. And it's 3-1. Mountain View at 2-6. The Mustangs at 4-5. They can even their record with a victory. 3-1 pitch to Baker will be squaring on a 3-1. Let's see. He will, and he'll bunt it foul to the backstop, and he's not happy with himself. That pitch was right down the middle, and he got underneath it and fouled it straight back. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Mustang base runner at first. 3-2 pitch. Down and away. It's a walk to Baker. Reading to second, and the Mustangs are in business with nobody out in the top of the 4th inning. Well, maybe they'll call on Jaden Carrera to bunt. I know he had a base hit his last time up with 2 outs, and now we're going to have a visit. And that will precipitate a pitching change, and we'll take it with him. We'll tell you about the new pitcher in 2 minutes. Top of the 4th inning, 2 on, nobody out. Deal is out. On B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. The right-hander Lane Herring is the new pitcher. No one-loss record and an ERA of 10.8. The Mustangs have runners at first and second, nobody out, top of the 4th inning. And we are tied at 4. And now the entire infield is meeting around the hill. Jaden Carrera will be the batter. Thank goodness we have a nice temperature today to sit out here in what could be a marathon game time-wise. Because I'm sure we'll compare this to other games played in Major League Baseball that go 9 innings that don't last this long. Carrera at 1 for 1. And now what do we have here with a home plate umpire? Is this a bit? I mean, is this guy for real? I think he's sleeping. Let's go. Let's get this. Let's resume. My gosh. Carrera steps in. That was a good almost 3 minutes between the pitching change and the first pitch thrown to Jaden Carrera. Here it is, and the breaking ball is up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. At second is Chase Redding. Tyler Baker's at first. Redding walked on 4 pitches. Baker walked on a 3-2. Mountain View scored 4 runs in the first inning. The Mustangs with 2 in the second and 2 in the third. Looking for some in the fourth. 1-0, squaring to bunt, lays it down. Nice bunt right back to the pitcher. And there's nobody at first base. Nobody at first. The second baseman, Good, went to cover second when he should have been at first with a first baseman, Deal, coming in. And the bases are loaded. That'll be a base hit. Boy, was that botched defensively. Wow. Completely botched. And Jaden Carrera's 2 for 2. I mean, you just had a meeting on the mound with the entire infield. You'd figure that's something they would consider. And yet, it was a total miscommunication. Joseph Layden struck out swinging his first time up. The bases are loaded with nobody out. Blake Strom is playing in at third. I'm not sure why. And yeah, I guess to cut down the run. Here's the wind and the pitch, and that's down and away. 1 ball and no strikes. I think at this point, you take as many pitches as you can. Because Herring's got to settle in for the right side. Looking back, and the 1-0. That's upstairs with a fastball, 2 balls and no strikes. And I know this is Mountain View's home field, but that's not easy to come into a situation after your starting pitcher has struggled. Now you got to clean up what has become a mess. 2-0. Upstairs with a fastball, it's 3-0. And Charlie Langford's an aggressive hitter on deck, but he's going to have to be disciplined and not swing at the first strike because these pitchers are not finding the zone even on an infrequent basis. 3-0 Layden awaiting the pitch. Here it is. That's down the middle for a strike at the knees. Now you look for something fat. 3 balls and 1 strike. Redding at third, Baker at second, Carrera at first. Fort Morgan 4, Mountain View 4, with nobody out in the top of the 4th inning. Out of the stretch, Lane Herring delivers. Swung on and grounded to second. It'll score a run. Gooden will throw to first for the out. Redding crosses home plate, 2 runners in scoring position. And it's 5-4 Fort Morgan. I think now if you're Charlie, you go up there aggressive. Without a doubt. Langford is singled and popped to right. And he's very good going the other way, even though the gap is open in left center. And you got your best hitter up there. And this wind is starting to really play havoc. The stretch by Herring. And now Langford will step out. no wind to speak of in the first 2 innings, and now you can certainly hear it. It's got more activity than some of the action on the field. The pitch, the breaking ball is upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. But we'll just fight through it during the broadcast. 1-0 at third is Baker. Carrera at second. 5-4 Fort Morgan in the top of the 4th inning. The stretch and the offering, and that is just outside. 2-0. You do have a base open with Romero on deck. 2 balls, no strikes to Charlie Langford. And the pitch, swing and a miss. He went chasing on a pitch up and away. 2-1. Yeah, there's some guys that don't like to walk. I think Charlie's one of those. But he also saw a pitch he thought he could drive. Ball 2, strike 1. Again at the belt is Herring. To the plate. It's fouled straight back. Again, that was up in the zone. Yeah, he might have swung at 2 consecutive balls. Those are not pitches that you can really drive if they're that high. 2-2. Setting is Herring. Looking in the offering. Breaking ball is grounded right through the third baseman into left field. Scoring is Baker. Carrera to third. It'll be an RBI. Boy, that's going to be tough to score that a hit. It looked like Strom should have had that one. Hit right there, went under his glove. It's 6-4. I'll score that an error. But the RBI does hold up. It was hit hard, but right at him. Romero struck out and walked. Mountain View unofficially with 3 miscues in the game. Romero's 0 for 1. Fort Morgan has scored the last 6 runs of the game. See if Langford takes off from first. He does not. Fastball is upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. Two of the 5 hits for the Mustangs supplied by the man at third, Jaden Carrera. At the belt is Herring. Long pause. The pitch runner goes. That's taken for a ball. Throw to second. It's going to bounce away from the shortstop, Steele Center, and Carrera breaks for the plate, and he's in there, and it's 7-4. And if that throw is there, Charlie would have been out by a mile, because he even hesitated between first and second. And now the Mustangs extend the lead in a very unconventional fashion. The stretch. Romero awaits the pitch. Here it is. Breaking ball is down and away. Two balls and 1 strike. With a man at second, 7-4 Fort Morgan. Romero waits the pitch. Here it comes. He swings and fouls it straight back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Let's close the book on Deal. 3+ innings. He threw 62 pitches, 6 runs, only 2 earned. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. The pitch. Swung on, grounded left side, headed for left field. That's going to be a base hit. And getting a late jump, and now going to third is Langford. And Trey Romero comes through. Nice job of going the other way. Here's David Keller, struck out and grounded out, and the grounder was a little 3-footer off the end of the bat, fielded by the catcher Mraz. And you've got a different pitcher now. A right-hander in Herring as opposed to the left-hander Deal. Keller did have 3 RBIs and a 2-run triple preceded by an RBI triple on Tuesday at Frederick. The stretch, the long positive pitch, and the breaking ball's up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. An inordinate number of pitches thrown in this game. Reading has thrown 68 in 3 innings. 81 thrown by Mountain. That's 149. Not even halfway through. The offering. Breaking ball is up and in again. 2-0. Well, there might be a reason these teams are under 500, although the Mustangs could pull to 500 after this one. 2-0. Keller awaits. The pitch. Swing and a foul to the screen and a fastball at the letters. It's 2-1. Time for another big hit. We've got the 2-run triple up on our B106 Facebook page. Occasionally I get some video. Keller awaits. 2-1 offering. And the bender is in the dirt. Nice take. Keller was thinking about swinging. He took it. 3-1. This is a long half inning. Mustangs have scored in each of the last 3 frames. 3 balls, 1 strike. The pitch. Fastball. Strike 2 on the outside corner. Three and 2 to Keller. A walk loads the bases. The offering. Up and away. He walks. And the bases are loaded. They went with a fastball there. And Mountain View pitchers have issued 4 walks in the game. This will bring up Jason Diaz, and now we have another visit. Well, it looks like we're going to have a switch in right field. Jaden Jorgensen will come into play right field. That's the change. It's not on the mound. Oh, this wind is whipping powerfully now. All right, let's get that hitter up there. Diaz is 0 for 2. He's been on base twice via the air. 7-4 Fort Morgan. Bases loaded. 1 out in the top of the 4th inning. And Herring wants his catcher to run through the signs again. The pitch. Breaking ball is high. 1 ball and no strikes. This right-hander's thrown 25 pitches, only 11 strikes out of 25. And the offering. That fastball is upstairs again, 2-0. When breaking ball high, curveball, or check it, fastball high. It's a 2-0 to Diaz. It's got to be a fat one down the middle for him to swing. Hopefully he doesn't swing at anything else. The pitch. Down and away, not even close. Nice play by Mraz, 3-0. And you cannot shorten games. The only way you shorten games in high school baseball is to have a double-digit lead. Mustangs are not close to that yet. 3 balls, no strikes. The pitch. That nearly hit him underneath the elbow. It's a walk that'll force in a run. Langford scores. 8-4 Fort Morgan. Noah Aguirre is the 9th hitter of the inning. Chase Redding on deck got it started when he walked on 4 pitches against the starter, James Deal. And Aguirre is 2 for 2. The offering. Fastball is up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. To the sophomore, Noah Aguirre. Fort Morgan is looking for a monumentally huge inning. The pitch. That is just outside. Yeah, that missed the corner, 2-0. Let's see what Coach Norris has Aguirre do. I wouldn't swing. He's thrown 6 balls in a row. 2-0. The pitch. That, I believe, got the inside corner. It did. It's 2-1. One with a fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike. 3 across. Make it 4 across for the Mustangs. 8-4. Herring sets. And the pitch. That's a little bit high. Three balls, 1 strike, and the Mustangs draw another bases-loaded walk. Aguirre waits. Here it comes, and he did. It's up and away, another walk. It'll force in Trey Romero, give the RBI to Aguirre, and we're going to have another pitching change. Mustangs have plated 5 in the inning, still only 1 out. We'll tell you about the new pitcher sometime today. Right after this, the score in the 4th inning in Loveland. It's Fort Morgan 9, Mountain View 4 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. TJ Horner's now the new pitcher for Mountain View, 3rd pitcher of the inning. The Mustangs lead 9-4, bases loaded, 1 out. This will be the 10th hitter of the inning, and Chase Redding. 1 appearance has been made by Horner. His ERA is 84. That is a level shy of infinity, so we'll see what happens. Redding has struck out and walked out of the stretch, playing in at the corners. The pitch, and that's in the dirt. Nice block by Mraz. 1 ball and no strikes. Fort Morgan trailed 4-0 after 1 inning. They've scored 9 unanswered. This top of the 4th has taken minimum half an hour. The pitch, that is a strike at the knees with a fastball. Again, lots of delayed calls behind the plate. You're never too sure. 1 ball and 1 strike. At third is Keller. Diaz at second. Aguirre at first. And the offering. That looks pretty good from here. That's a strike with the off speed. In case you missed it, 1 inning ago, head coach Josh Langford and 1 assistant Ty Davies ejected. They were arguing a call, and it was in a rundown that Aguirre was involved in. The pitch swung on and lifted down the left field line. That should score a run. Meyer to his left along the line. It's going to drop for a base hit. And I don't know what is the base runner doing at second. Should be a force at third. Did they get the force? I don't know what happened over there. It does score a run, but Jason Diaz was completely lost. Oh, that was not good base running. He should have been at third base. He was completely lost, and there's 2 down. Oh, that is awful base running. You can't do that. He was just standing at second for some reason and never went to third, and they just forced him out at third, but the RBI makes it 10-4. And actually, it's not even scored a hit. It's really not scored a hit. Here's Baker. That was awful. Pitches up and in. So that fielder's choice is going to go 7-5. And now we'll have a conversation between the pitcher and catcher. Aguirre at second. Yeah, I don't know. There must have been massive confusion with Jason. The ball landed and he was still standing at second. I don't think he realized there was a runner behind him. I thought he must have thought it was second and third, because there's no way. You see that ball drop, you got to take off for third. And Coach Norris had a brief word with him. But the Mustangs have plated 6 in the inning. So unfortunately, it does take away the base hit for Redding. 1 ball and no strikes to Baker. The pitch swung on, popped up. This should end the inning. The shortstop, Steele Santer, makes the catch. And it only ends the top half of the inning. for the Mustangs. They score 6 runs on 2 hits. There was an error and 2 left, 3.5 complete. It's Fort Morgan 10, Mountain View 4 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Well, this game is now resting on the right arm of Chase Redding. Just throw strikes and you're going to win this game. Fort Morgan leads 10-4 in the bottom of the 4th inning. He did have a long break. That top of the 4th inning lasted just over 30 minutes. And now Redding will face the bottom of the order, 7, 8, and 9. Jaden Good, Braden Steele, Santer, and Brock Robb the pitch. And that is low. 1 ball and no strikes. Jaden Good struck out his first time up. Here's the wind and pitch. Way outside, 2-0. Mustangs have 6 hits. Mountain View with only 2. That's why the game is resting on his arm. And the 2-0 from Redding. And that bounces in. Oh my gosh. Wow. Redding 71 pitches in, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and he's hit a batter. Now he's down 3-0 to the number 7 hitter. And that one bounces to the plate. Here's Braden Steele Santer after the 4-pitch walk. Steele Santer walked his first time up. I'm going to say this again. I've said it a million times. Nothing better than good baseball and nothing worse than bad. And this is bordering on the latter. Let's see what Redding can do here. The stretch and the offering. And that is just outside, barely missed. And now if you're a pitcher, you're not going to get these calls. With all the walks issued in this game, you're not going to get calls unless it's in the strike zone. 1 ball and no strikes to pitch. That's a good one right at the knees. Down the middle, it's 1-1. Let's go, Chase. Just throw those strikes. 1 ball, 1 strike. Forget about the base runner. You're up by 6 runs. The pitch. Swing and a miss and a fastball in the inner half at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 10-4 Fort Morgan. 1 on, nobody out in the bottom of the 4th inning. Robb awaits. Redding to the plate. In the dirt. Backhanded by Tyler Baker. It's 2-2. Baker lays down the sign, hopefully just a straight-up fastball. 2-2, and it's a fastball, but it's low. It's 3-2. Redding has thrown 42 balls and only 35 strikes, and has a 6-run lead. That's the type of game this has been. 3-2. The pitch fouled off the end of the bat towards the Mountain View dugout. Remains at 3-2. To Braden Steele Santer. Redding stretches. Redding delivers. That is a called strike 3. I think that was a little bit of a bender. A gorgeous pitch by Chase Redding. Froze Steele Santer, and there's 1 down. Chase Redding has recorded his 5th strikeout. Here's Robb. He struck out looking his first time up. And the number 9 hitter in the lineup. He's only had 2 plate appearances this season. Throw back to first back in diving is good. Big 3-2 pitch thrown by Redding. The stretch by the senior and the offering. Swung on and lifted into shallow right center field. Got some carry to it. Keller to his left. He's going to make the running catch. Wow, he had to go a long way. That looked like it should have been caught by Romero and right, but there's 2 down. I wonder if he called that really early. He must have called that super early. That's a long run for a ball that was closer to the right fielder, but Keller makes a nice play out there. 2 down. Here's Keenan Kaufman, singled and struck out. He pops it up, foul territory, right side. Diaz giving chase. And now making the catch in foul territory. Behind him is Layden. Joseph Layden. Those are 2 impressive plays by the Mustangs defensively. And just like that, after Redding walked the leadoff hitter, he gets 3 quick outs. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left. We have played 4 innings. It's Fort Morgan 10, Mountain View 4 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. A bouncer back to the mound to begin the 5th inning. For the first out on the first pitch to Jaden Carrera, who was 2 for 2. And TJ Horner starting to throw strikes when the previous 2 pitchers struggled with their control. 10-4 Fort Morgan. Here is Joseph Layden. Here's the stretch and the offering. And that is in there for a strike or no? Down and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Layden is struck out and grounded out. He is 0 for 2. And the pitch swung on, lined, and a base hit into left center field by Joseph Layden. His first hit of the game. He's also got an RBI. His grounder in his previous at-bat scored a run. Charlie Langford has singled, popped out, and hit that grounder to third. That it was a hard shot, but it was right to the third baseman, Strom. He misplayed it. And Langford later scored in a 6-run 4th inning. Yeah, with the pitchers now throwing strikes, that makes all the difference in the world. The game starts moving along. The pitch bounces in, blocked by Mraz. 1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, we're still on pace to play over 2.5 hours in a 7-inning game. We're at 1 hour 45 up to this point. 1 on, 1 out in the 5th inning. And the offering. Swung on, lined, and a base hit. Might have grazed the glove of the shortstop, Steele center. And Charlie advances late into second. And the Mustangs unofficially with 8 hits. Trey Romero has 1 of those. His previous at bat, he also struck out and walked. 1 for 3 for the sophomore DH. TJ Horner, the right-hander. Looking back, the pitch and the breaking ball is a beauty on the outside corner, thigh high. It's 0-1. No balls and 1 strike. Again, we're in the top of the 5th inning. Fort Morgan leads Mountain View 10-4. They trailed 4-0, and the temperature is really starting to drop as well. The offering and the bender is blocked by Mraz. 9 locations across northeast Colorado and Nebraska means there's always a location close by. That's Rudy's Tires. They bring you 10-10 preps and more every day. Visit rudystires.com. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mr. Romero swung on, grounded off the end of the bat slowly to short. Steele center has it. Chucks it to first late. Romero got down the line. Man, he showed a lot of speed, did Trey Romero, on a ball hit slowly, but still, I thought that Steele center had time, and Trey beats it out. That's 3 base hits to begin the 5th inning. And now you have David Keller. 0 for 2 in the game, so he's due. And if he gets one in the teeth of this wind, it could fly quite a bit. The pitch swung on and grounded to third, and the play's going to be to the plate, and the throw's a little bit offline. Was he on the plate? He was. The catcher, Mraz, was on the plate. Layden is forced out. That'll go 5-2, 2 down. Well, that was nearly thrown away. Now the batter is Jason Diaz. Been on base 3 times, but twice via the error. This is a big situation for Fort Morgan. They can really slam the door shut. They're up by 6 now. The pitch, and the bender skips away, but not far enough to advance Langford from third. 1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, at first pitch we were at 75 degrees. It feels like 65 now, but I don't think we're quite there. It says 74. It's just the wind makes it feel cooler. 1-0 pitch, and the curveball is a beauty on the inside corner. Belt high, and the count is level at 1-1. Langford, Trey Romero, and David Keller on the bases. 2 down in the 5th inning. The stretch. And the offering. Curveball is grounded slowly to short. Steele center charges. Sidearms to first for the out. And he got Diaz up by about 3 steps. And that ends the threat. In this top of the 5th inning, the Mustangs pick up 3 hits. But they leave the bases loaded. 4 1/2 innings are in the book. With the score, Fort Morgan 10, Mountain View 4 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network.
Finding insurance shouldn't be as hard as, say, backing your boat to the boat ramp. Nothing should be that difficult.
We move to the bottom of the 5th inning from Greg Brockfield in Loveland. Fort Morgan 10, Mountain View 4. Chase Redding has thrown 81 pitches and works to the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Caden Meyer has walked and struck out. The pitch. Fastball is upstairs. You might be able to get Redding through 6. He won't go 7. Here's the wine and the offering. Swing and a miss on a pitch down in the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. Still has more balls than strikes. 43 balls and 40 strikes. The right-hander to the plate. Very high. 2-1. Went with a heat. Meyer, Mraz, and Deal in the 5th. The pitch. Swing and a miss. With a fastball right by him at the knees. It's 2-2. Chase Redding has picked up 5 strikeouts in the game. He struck out the side in the 2nd. And a 2-2 offering. Swing and a miss, and a sharp breaking ball. 1 down. Well, that's his A curveball. And he strikes out Caden Meyer. Here's Jacob Mraz, who's been very busy behind the plate. At the plate, he's walked and grounded to second. Redding looking in, and the offering. Swung on, drilled into the right center field gap. That's going to take 1 big hop over the fence for an automatic double. They call it a ground rule double, but basically in any park, it's an automatic double. That's the hardest hit ball off Redding, only the 3rd hit for Mountain View in the game. And Mraz got all of it. Here is Deal, singled and hit by a pitch. But at least you make him earn it. You make him earn it. He just got a great piece of that baseball. Redding looking back. The pitch. Swung on and driven in the air into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit. And that bounces over Aguirre's glove. It took a huge hop. Rounding third and scoring is Mraz. Into second is Deal with an RBI double. Mountain View scores for the first time since the 1st inning. It's 10-5 Fort Morgan. You might see Redding go back to the breaking ball, because those were 2 fastballs that were launched. Blake Strom has popped to first, and he's flown to right. 0 for 2. Stretch by Redding, and the pitch. Swung on, driven down the line, deep into left field. Along the line is Aguirre. He makes the catch in front of the 324 sign. And back to second is Deal, 2 down. Aguirre with some athleticism in left field to track it down. T.J. Horner has grounded out twice, and Mountain View is getting very aggressive at the plate. Reading now has thrown more strikes than balls to pitch, but now it's evened up and the ball skips away. On the wild pitch, Deal to third. 45 strikes, 45 balls. Yeah, I would assume that Keller would come in to pitch since he was warming up earlier. But if you get Reading through 6 innings, that would be ideal. 1 ball, no strikes. The offering. Swung on and lifted into left center field. That's a long run for Keller to his right. He dives, and it's going to drop for a base hit. Aguirre tracks it down. It's the 3rd double of the inning. This one from Horner, scoring Deal. And Mountain View's played it 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Fort Morgan's lead is down to 4. It's 10-6. That was just hitting the perfect spot. Yeah, Keller's cap went flying and everything. It's a huge outfield. I think I might have said 380, 390 in those gaps. The pitch. Breaking ball is lined towards center field. Keller coming on, has to play it on a hop. Rounding third is Horner. Throw towards the plate is going to be cut off. And Mountain View draws to within 3. Good with an RBI single. It's 10-7. Watch out. Here comes Mountain View. Braden Steele Santer will now hit. Walked and struck out. Mountain View had 2 hits going into the inning. Now 3 doubles and a single. There are 2 outs. Coach Norris out to the mound after coaches Langford and Davies were ejected earlier in the game. Oh, it's been a game of runs. Mountain View scored the first 4. Fort Morgan scored 10 unanswered. Mountain View's tallied the last 3. In a 10-7 game. Oh, you'll have a 3-run lead with 2 innings to go if you get this guy. The conversation breaks up. Approaching the top of the hour, this is Morgan County's B106 KPRB. Brush Fort Morgan. I'm John Beltran from Greg Brock Field at Mountain View High School in Loveland. Mustangs looking for their 2nd win in 3 days, both in league play. The pitch, fastball is over but low. Steele Santer walked and then struck out looking. He's the number 8 hitter in the lineup. The pitch, that looks pretty good from here. That's called a strike. On the outside corner at the knees with a heater. 1 ball, 1 strike. 3 runs on 4 hits in the inning for Mountain View. At the belt is Reading. To the plate. Breaking ball is a gorgeous pitch. Oh man, was that good. That started off at the left shoulder of the right-handed hitter and just swept across. Strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitch number 96 coming up for Chase Reading. Here it is. Swing and a miss and a fastball at the knees. Reading records a strikeout. And the inning is over. 3 runs on 4 hits. No errors and a man left. 5 innings have been played in Loveland. It's Fort Morgan 10, Mountain View 7 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Let's hit the top of the 6th inning. Fort Morgan 10, Mountain View 7. The pitch, breaking ball is taken for a ball by Noah Aguirre, who has been on base all 3 times, 2 singles and a walk. 1 ball and no strikes. TJ Horner, the right-hander, to the plate. Swung on and grounded left side. A routine hop for the third baseman, Strom, who throws out a gate at 1 out. There's Chase Redding. Struck out, walked, and grounded into a fielder's choice. He is 0 for 2. And Horner out of the stretch with the bases empty. He's been very effective, the offering. And the bender bounces in. At 1 ball and no strikes. The weather will take a turn for the worse tomorrow. We're getting a little bit of a preview of it right now, although no threat of any moisture. And the pitch. Swag and a miss on a pitch up and in. Count evens at 1-1. Mustangs would draw to 500 with a victory. They need it because after the Mountain View home game on Saturday, you have Severance twice next week, and that's easily the best team in this league. The pitch, up and away with a fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike. We have played exactly 2 hours of baseball. Pitch, that's in the dirt. 3-1. I guarantee there will be major league games today that are shorter than this one, and those are 9-inning games, without a doubt. 3-1 to Redding. The offering. Swung on and grounded to third, and that goes right underneath the glove of Blake Strom into left field. Tried to backhand it. That's a second error on the third baseman. If he gets that glove down, he's got the play at first, but did not. 4 errors on Mountain View. And Tyler Baker is 0 for 2. A fielder's choice. He walked and he popped out. I think Tyler's got to lay off some of those high pitches. He swung at a pitch that was a strike, but it was, I think he likes that pitch down better than up the pitch. That is a breaking ball for a strike on the outside edge. No balls and 1 strike. At that huge at bat against Frederick, a leadoff single in the 7th. Scored the go-ahead run, and the Mustangs won 8-4 on Tuesday. Short lead at first. The pitch. Fastball is up and in, and the count levels at 1-1. Both balls Baker has hit has been to the shortstop. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 on. 10-7. Fort Morgan leads Mountain View in the top of the 6th. Throw back to first, and back in easily is Redding. He doesn't have a big lead at all. Redding is just shy of 100 pitches. He'll be taking the mound, you would think, at the bottom of the 6th inning. The offering. Curveball is in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike. This is our 4th game in as many days on the Eastern Plains Sports Network. That is, we had Brush at Bennett on Monday, Fort Morgan, Frederick on Tuesday, Brush, Weld Central yesterday, and now in Loveland today, another pitch in the dirt, 3-1 to Tyler Baker. Again, a brief lead at first. 3-1 pitch. Swung on, grounded weakly on the left side. The shortstop, Steele Santer, throws to second for 1, late to first, and the ball skips by. Baker's going to take off for second, and there will be a throw for no reason. Another 6-4 fielder's choice hit by Baker, and then the throwing error sends Baker to second. Throwing error by Jaden Good. Jesus Franco will be the courtesy runner. Carrera with a 2-run single, a bunt single, and grounded back to the mound. 2 for 3 is the freshman. As he now bats against TJ Horner. Laying down the sign is Mraz. And the pitch. Curveball is a strike right down the middle. Knee level, 0-1. The Mustangs have 9 hits. Mountain View with 6. This is all unofficial. Fort Morgan has not committed an error. That's been a big difference in this game. Looking back, coming back. Curveball is inside to Carrera. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, you'll need Redding and then more than likely David Keller to close out this game, but there's still 6 outs to record. Off of second is Franco. Awaiting the 1-1. Here it is. Curveball is bounced in, 2-1. I've got to do this. I got to see how many pitches have been thrown in this game. Yeah, Redding with 96. Well, Mountain View has a lot more than 96 that they have to. The stretch, the pitch, that's low with 127. So that's 223 pitches thrown in this game, and it's 3-1 to Carrera. T.J. Horner at the belt. The offering. Curveball is foul down the right side, giving Chase his deal, but he's not going to get to that one. 3-2. To Jaden Carrera. Horner himself in relief, the third pitcher for Mountain View, has thrown 34 pitches. A 3-2 is coming, and here it is. Curveball is lifted into shallow right field. That might drop. That's going to drop for a base hit. Franco around third. Could be played at the plate. No, now he's going to stop. The ball gets loose in the infield, and Carrera to second. Oh, man, I don't know what happened there. That just was lofted out there. I thought Franco would be able to score, but then he, between second and third, he went back. You got 2 in scoring position. A ball like that would normally score a runner from second. Carrera's got 3 hits in the game. And let's see who we have here. Not sure who. I got to check the roster here. Oh, that should be Davila. That should be Miguel at the plate here in Layden spot. And the pitch is taken for a strike at the knees. No balls and 1 strike. Big situation with Fort Morgan up 10-7. And the offering. Curveball is fouled off to the right. Count is at 0-2 to Miguel, who has not batted in this game. And now he's in a hole. Yeah, Jorgensen did play that one on 1 hop in right field, but it really took a while to get out there on the base hit by Carrera. It was almost assumed that the runner was going to score from second. Bowdy Anderson warming up for Mountain View. He could be the 4th pitcher. The 0-2, and it bounces in but blocked by Mraz. A ball and 2 strikes. With 2 runners in scoring position for the Mustangs in the 6th inning. Franco and Carrera on the bases, awaiting the offering. And here it is, and that is up and away with a fastball. 2-2. Yeah, because even Horner is starting to tire a bit, and I think they're going to have to throw another pitcher, whether it's in this inning or the next. Miguel awaits the pitch. 2-2. Curveball is lined and caught by the second baseman, Jaden Good. And the Mustangs are kept off the board in the top of the 6th inning. No runs on 1 hit. 2 errors, 2 left. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. After this, it's Fort Morgan 10, Mountain View 7 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network.
All right. Morgan County's B106
Noah Aguirre, who closed out the game, although he struggled in the 7th, is on for the Mustangs. Should have Angel Lopez in left, and Chase Redding goes to right. Everything else remains the same. 10-7 Fort Morgan. 9-1-2. Brock Robb, who has struck out and popped out, is at the plate. So it will be Aguirre and not Keller to record 6 outs. All the matter just throwing strikes. I know it sounds logical, but that's been the issue. And the offering. Swung on, driven deep into left center field. Keller's going back. He's got room, and he makes the catch. As soon as he broke for that baseball, his hat went flying because of the wind. And the wind kind of knocked the ball down, but Keller's a tremendous athlete. Got to that ball rather easily. 1 out. That's the way you do things. Just throw it in the strike zone. Keenan Kaufman has singled, struck out, and he popped out to the second baseman Layden in foul territory. The pitch. Swing and a miss on a fastball down the middle. No balls and 1 strike. The one thing I like about Aguirre, he just attacks the hitters. Even when he struggled and he wasn't fiddling around, he just couldn't find the zone. The pitch. Fastball is up and away. Count is level at 1 ball and 1 strike. The sophomore right-hander gets a sign from Baker. The pitch. Breaking balls on the inside corner at the knees. That's a gorgeous pitch. 1-2. Ready as Kaufman, so is Aguirre to the pitch. And a check swing foul along the first base side. Almost like he was getting out of the way of the pitch and hit the bat. Remains at 1-2. Noah ready. He fires. Fastball is upstairs. Remember, this is a kid that has a state championship in football as a freshman. He started down the stretch of the season, including the playoffs. So he's a gamer. And the 2-2. Curveball bounces in. He short-armed that curveball. You can see it right from there. He really telegraphed that pitch. That's what you don't want. Just go after him. And the wind is just relentless, as you can tell. 3-2. Payoff pitch. Swung on and grounded foul along the third base side. Excellent pitch thrown by Aguirre, but Kaufman got a piece of it. Back in the box. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. 10-7 Fort Morgan, bottom of the 6th inning in Loveland. The pitch. Swung on and fisted foul and out of play to the right. Remains at 3-2. Yeah, just go straight fastball here. Get him thinking. Get him swinging. Get him out. Caden Meyer is on deck. 3-2 again. The offering. Swing and a miss on a fastball above the letters. It's a strikeout of Kaufman, 2 down. That is 8 strikeouts by Fort Morgan pitching. Meyer struck out twice. He walked his first time up. Open stance, right-handed hitter, the pitch. Breaking ball bounces to the plate. Yeah, he short-armed that pitch twice. Just unleashed, let it fly. 1-0. Noah delivers. Fastball very outside. 2-0. And now you just got to go straight fastball to Caden Meyer. 2-0 pitch, and that bounces to the plate. 3 balls and no strikes. Thanks for being with us here on B106 and bearing with us. It's been an adventure from Loveland. 3-0 offering. Fastball, strike 1 on the outer edge, thigh high to Caden Meyer. Noah looking for 2 more of those fastballs. 3-1. Swung on line, base hit into left field. And then the ball gets underneath the glove of Lopez out there. It's loose. Picks it up. That's going to be the first Mustang error. And again, I think that's, well, it could be, I don't know if that's Lopez or Franco. Tough to see. I didn't see him go on the field, but normally they put Lopez out there. Either way, it's a Mustang error in left field. That'll bring up Mraz. Hopefully that doesn't cost him because the runner's in scoring position. And Mraz had an automatic double his last time up. He scored one of those 3 runs in the previous inning. Stretch by Noah Aguirre. The offering. Swung on, grounded off the end of the bat to third, and diving is Carrera. Had some English on it. Langford picks it up in shallow left. And holding up at third is Caden Meyer. It's a base hit. That ball had some side spin. And really nothing Jaden could do. Yeah, very strange spin, and that's what happens when the ball's cued out there. Now the tying runs at the plate, and James Deal does have a home run this year. And he's been on base 3 times. Singled, hit by a pitch, and doubled. This would be the ultimate nightmare if this game gets tied up. And maybe I'm stretching it out a little bit, but it's been a long enough game. You don't want Mountain View to rally and deadlock this thing. Get Deal out and go to the 7th, up by 3. Stretch by Aguirre, and the pitch. Fastball is high. 1 ball and no strikes. Mountain View had struggled to hit the ball until the last 2 innings. They have 6 hits in the last 2 innings. The pitch. Swung on, driven into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit and score a run. And slowly getting to that baseball as it's back in to the infield, and the ball gets loose in the infield, backed up by Aguirre. It's 10-8. No, I think that's Miguel out there. I think that's Davila out there in left field, who's already got an error in the inning. And here is Blake Strom. So that's 3 consecutive hits off Noah. Strom has popped to first, flown to right, and then hit that deep shot down the left field line that Aguirre caught. And Aguirre, he's more familiar with that position than Miguel out there. 1 ball and no strikes and a pitch down and away. Yeah, you cannot have this hitter pull it. It's got to be hit right at Miguel. He hasn't shown a lot of range out there. The offering in the dirt, 2 balls and no strikes. And again, I know that his experience out there has to be limited. It's not all on him. Runners at first and third. It's a 2-run game with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Aguirre gets the sign. 2-0. That is low. Oh, strike. Well, come on. You got to make that call quicker than that. I mean, Noah had the ball in his glove, and it was signaled a strike. But I'm glad it was a strike. 2-1. And the offering. Curveball is low. 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, this game is getting dangerously close now for Fort Morgan. They were up 10-4. And if this hitter reaches, the bases are loaded. 3-1 pitch. Swung on and popped foul and out of play. Baker giving chase, but it's well out of play. 3-2. Well, you can't say it has not been exciting the last couple of games. Tied at 2 in the 7th before Fort Morgan scored 6 runs to beat Frederick 8-4. Mountain View scored 4 runs to begin the game. Fort Morgan with 10 straight. Now Mountain View with 4 unanswered. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. Called strike 3. Fastball outside corner at the knees. And Blake Strom strikes out. That's a big one for Noah Aguirre. A run on 3 hits, an error, and 2 left. Let's head to the 7th inning in Loveland. Still anybody's game, but the Mustangs have the lead over the Mountain Lions 10-8 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Let's head to the 7th inning. The Mustangs lead Mountain View by a score of 10-8. Here's Charlie Langford against TJ Horner, who's done very well in relief. The pitch. Breaking ball's a strike on the inner half. No balls in one strike, and maybe this wind has died down a bit. Langford has singled, popped out, reached in an air and singled. Curveball inside. The count is level at 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, we hope to find out at some point. The pitch. Fastball is down and away, 2-1. All we saw in the 3rd inning is that 2 coaches came out after Aguirre got caught in a rundown and Jason Diaz scored in the play. The pitch fouled off to the right. And when coaches Davies and Langford were summoned out of the game, that was not immediate. The home plate umpire was in one conversation and the field umpire in another one. The pitch swung on, hit slowly on the ground, foul, third base side. And it was not immediate. And then the home plate umpire pointed towards one coach, then the other coach, and waved them out. So why that happened? Still not sure. The stretch and the offering. Curveball is lifted into deep right center field. That one's got some carry. Kaufman is way back, and it's gone! Holy mahungus! A home run over the right center field fence by Charlie Langford. And the Mustangs tack on an insurance run in the 7th. Fort Morgan 11, Mountain View 8. I think that wind might have helped a little bit, but Charlie's always had some good power the other way. Hit between the 350 and 390 signs in right center. And Trey Romero will step in. They needed that one because Mountain View was inching closer. And you still have to get 3 outs. Romero struck out and then been on base 3 times, a walk and 2 singles. The pitch swung on. That one's lifted into shallow right field. Coming on is Jorgensen, and he makes the grab. 1 out for David Keller. Keller looking for his first hit, 0 for 3, struck out. Hit a tapper. The catcher threw him out on, walked, and then the 5-2 fielder's choice with the bases loaded. That eliminated the lead runner for the Mustangs. The pitch, and that is a strike at the knees with a fastball. No balls and 1 strike to David Keller. Stretched by TJ Horner. Now he steps off. How about this? The sun looking like it's trying to peek through the clouds. Haven't seen that since the 1st inning. And the offering. Swung on, drilled into center field. That's a base hit for David Keller. Well, the Mustangs are not done in the top of the 7th inning. Mustangs now with 12 hits unofficially. And Diaz is 0 for 3. A couple of times he reached on an error, then he walked and grounded out. Well, the Mustangs sent Keller. The offering. Curveball swung on and missed way out in front. Yeah, he thought that was a fastball. He took a fastball swing at a breaking ball. No balls and 1 strike. Keller with a 2-step advantage at first. The pitch. Curveball is swung on, grounded to second for 1, back to first. That's a 4-6-3 double play. And the Mustangs are retired in the top of the 7th inning as Jason Diaz grounds into the double play. Charlie Langford homers in the 7th inning for Fort Morgan. To the bottom of the 7th, it's Fort Morgan 11, Mountain View 8 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Noah Aguirre will look to close out this game for the Mustangs, leading 11-8. We'll have a recap immediately after the game. Post-game show brought to you by Advanced Agri Solutions. The fastball is in the dirt. 6, 7, and 8 hitters for Mountain View. TJ Horner has grounded to second, to third, and he's doubled. 1 ball and no strikes. The pitch. Fastball is up and in, 2-0. Noah's just got to slow down and get his groove. He had a 6-run lead, gave up 2 runs, and then they closed that out against Frederick. And that pitch looked pretty good from here, but called a little bit low, 3-0. To TJ Horner. Kicking the pitch way outside, and it's a walk on 4 pitches to begin the bottom of the 7th inning. Now the sun has been out in full force for the first time again since the first inning. Mustang pitchers have walked 5. It's a first by Aguirre. Here's Jaden Good, 1 for 2. Fastball down the middle for a strike at the knees. It's 0-1. Good struck out, walked, and then a base hit to center in his last at bat. That's a huge advantage at first for Horner. Well, you got to throw over there. Stretch, the offering. Foul tipped off of Baker. It's 0-2. I say that knowing that the base runner is inconsequential. However, Baker's out there. He might be telling Aguirre, hey, this guy's got a humongous lead at first base. No balls and 2 strikes. Off of first is Horner. Yeah, that's a much shorter lead, and then Aguirre steps off. Well, you don't want to worry too much about the base runner, especially when you have an 0-2 count. The pitch. Swung on, grounded right side late, and has the base. Now he drops and recovers, throws to first, and late. Oh, man, he had it. Then he dropped it. That'll be an error on the second baseman. I think what happened there, he was thinking about maybe going to second, and you don't want to do that. You just want to get outs. Now the tying run is at the plate. Oh, you just got to get outs. Who cares about getting a guy at second base, especially in a ball that was hit to his left? And here is, that looks like a pinch hitter coming up there. Roman Kenny. Check out his numbers for Mountain View. Well, I can see why he's up there now, hitting .308. He's got 3 doubles on the season. And all of a sudden, this lead is in jeopardy. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. A walk and an error have begun this rally for Mountain View. Aguirre delivers. Fastball is high. 1 ball and no strikes. It was 10-8 Fort Morgan until Charlie Langford delivered a 1-out home run in the top half of this frame. The stretch and the offering. A strike. And that took a while. On the inside corner, it's 1-1 to Kenny. Aguirre looks back. And the pitch. Swung on and drilled into center field, and Langford leaps. He can make the catch. They might have a force at second, and no, it's a base hit. Getting there quickly was Jaden Good. It was hit into center, but it was dropping quickly, and Langford reached out and nearly made the catch. And the bases are loaded. And Brock Robb will now hit, and here's a visit to the mound. That's too bad. That ball didn't have as much mustard as I thought off the bat. And it found the perfect spot in shallow center. Keller came up with it, but did not have the force play at second because Good got there quickly. Oh, here we go. This game is going to turn on this hitter, you would think. Now, this is a little bit confusing to me. I don't know what Fort Morgan is doing here. The infield is on the edge of the grass. You're up by 3 runs. Yeah, now they're going to back up. I was wondering, yeah, that would not be a situation Fort Morgan wants to get themselves in. Yeah, the infielders have to back up, play for range. Who cares about the runner at third? The pitch. Fastball is a strike on the outside corner. No balls and 1 strike. Rob has struck out and hit 2 fairly deep fly balls to center. The offering curveball is blocked in the dirt by Baker. 1-1. Fort Morgan trailed 4-0. They caught up by the 3rd inning. Mountain View in position to win the game, believe it or not. 1-1 pitch. Swung on, line fair inside the left field line. Horner scores. Good is around third. He will score. And the trail runner goes to third base. And into second with a 2-run double is Rob. And the Mountain View Lions now trail 11-10. Oh, this could be a devastating loss for Fort Morgan. Still nobody out, and Kaufman's the hitter. Fort Morgan has led since the 4th inning. And now Mountain View only needs a base hit to win the game. The inning began with a walk, followed by an error, and then a base hit, and now that double. The pitch. Fastball is up and in. Kaufman singled in the first, struck out. He popped to second and struck out again. Oh, it needed something like that. The pitch. Swung on, driven deep into left field, and that ball is going to be off the glove of the left fielder. That'll score 1. Rob is around third. The throw towards the plate and late. I think it got Davila's glove. He nearly made the catch, and Mountain View has won the game 12-11. Tough to tell from here. I could score that an easy or a tough 2-run double, but Mountain View has rallied to win the game 12-11. And we'll see how that's scored, because it looked like that catch was nearly made out in left field. And in fact, all the Mustangs are off the field, except the Mustang left fielder still to his knees in front of the 366 sign, which might tell you that that was an error. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter. Mountain View rallies with 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Time for the Mustang post-game show. After this crushing defeat, which is brought to you by Advanced Agri Solutions. Get a full plan of seed, food, and water for your field. Now is the time to begin your planning for next year's growing season. Call Dusty or Roxy, 970-571-2024. For Mountain View, 12 runs, 12 hits, 5 errors, 7 left on base. The Mustangs, 11 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors, 8 left on base. The winning pitcher was T.J. Horner. The loss goes to Noah Aguirre. Time of the game, 2 hours and 37 minutes. As Mountain View scored 4 runs in the first inning. James Deal with an RBI single. Then Caden Meyer scored on a wild pitch, making it 2-0. It became 3-0, and another wild pitch from Redding. T.J. Horner's RBI groundout made it 4-0. Then the Mustangs rallied. They scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 2nd inning, or top of the 2nd. 2-run single by Jaden Carrera. Tied it with 2 more. In the 3rd, Trey Romero scored on a wild pitch. And then Jason Diaz, the same thing. And when Jason Diaz scored on a wild pitch, that's when Noah Aguirre caught between first and second. And 2 coaches, Ty Davies and Coach Langford, went out there. They had 2 separate conversations. And within probably 30 seconds, both, based on what I saw, were ejected. The home plate umpire pointed at both and then did the ejection sign you see at the higher levels. The Mustangs then grabbed a 5-4 lead on Joseph Layden's RBI ground out in the fourth inning. Langford reached in an air, scoring a run, making it 6-4. Jaden Carrera then scored, making it 7-4. And then Jason Diaz issued a bases-loaded walk. Noah Aguirre the same. So again, that was part of a six-run, not a 4-run, a 6-run fourth inning. As they went up by a score of 10-4, it seemed secure there going into the bottom of the fifth inning. But then Mountain View, which had struggled to hit the ball, all of a sudden got the bats going as TJ Horner had an RBI double preceded by James Deal's run-scoring double. They had 3 doubles in a row. Jaden Good with a run-scoring single, making it 10-7. They got another run in the bottom of the sixth inning. Then Charlie Langford homered with 1 out in the seventh. And then the Mustangs did not record a single out in the bottom of the seventh inning. A walk, an error on Layden, and then a pop fly single. Loaded the bases. Brock Robb then with a 2-run double. Then Keenan Kaufman hit a ball that might have been caught in left field by Davila. It appeared to go off his glove. You can score that at a 2-base error or whatever. It doesn't matter either way. That was the decider. 2 runs scored. Mountain View picks up a huge win. They're now 3-2 in league play. The Mustangs dropped to 1-4 and 4-6 overall. Mountain View is 3-6 on the season. Both teams will be hooking up again. Brian Nickel will have the call on Saturday morning. Mountain View at Fort Morgan from Legion Field, 11 a.m. on Morgan County's B106. Well, a disappointing game as the Mustangs lose in Loveland to the Mountain View Mountain Lions. I'm John Beltran. The final score, Mountain View 12, Fort Morgan 11 on B106. B106.com and the Eastern Plains Sports Network.